Welcome back to episode 3 of the Dallas Ballers podcast. We have the usual crew, Bennett,
And David.
Clayton.
and today we have our week 2 preview. It'll be the New York Jets at the Dallas Cowboys. And this is one that we're very, very excited for. Maybe not as excited as we were when we did, our schedule predictions and all that last Thursday. Needless to say, things have changed a lot in terms of the overall outlook for this game. Um, no Aaron Rodgers, no big bad scary man, and we're gonna be facing Zach Wilson. But just to get us started, Spanky, do you wanna get us caught up on the latest news, notes, injury reports,
Absolutely.
that sort of thing?
Absolutely. So on the injury report front, new details have come out about Brandon Cooks not participating in practice today. And It's been said that Brandon Cooks is suffering from a knee injury and more specifically an MCL sprain. Now,
Okay.
these tend to linger 1 to 3 weeks based on the severity of it. We don't really know the severity. I saw photos of him on Twitter working out with resistance cords, similarly to what Sam Williams and Donovan Wilson and Tyler Smith have been doing. So that's just definitely something to keep an eye on. If Aaron Rodgers was playing, it would definitely be something that maybe he plays through. But I'm not really sure where we go about this, definitely based on the severity. And I hope we have a long-term mentality for this injury, but definitely a new thing to come up. Other than that, we seem to be healthier on the home front, barring Tyler Smith, who is still not participating in practice, which means we will see Chomi Odega play against his former team. So
Chume Idoga.
yeah, whatever. Play against his former team, which he held his own against Dexter Lawrence, but it's interesting that we're missing Tyler Smith, and the first 2 weeks of the season we're playing $100 million worth of defensive tackles. So without one of our key starters on our offensive line, we're playing Leonard Williams, Dexter Lawrence, and Quinnen Williams. So it's just definitely something to keep an eye on. Other than that, Tyron Smith is a full participant. Zach Martin came up on the report as limited in practice because of a groin injury. But other than that, we seem to be healthy. I'm not really sure the severity of the Zach Martin situation. I don't hear any peeps about it. So it's definitely something to keep an eye on, but I don't think it holds him out. Other than that, just an interesting fact from last week's game is Dak Prescott got the ball out faster than any other quarterback in the league. And stats back up that statement. And Dak has better games when he throws the ball quicker. So just something to keep an eye on. But other than that, might be Tolbert season, finally.
Mm-hmm.
Quicker than we expected. But That's all I got.
Okay. Yeah, thank you for getting us caught up there. I want to start with first of all, I had a question. So I know Idoga got hurt in the game last week. Is he fine? Not on the injury report?
Nothing on the report.
Okay, cool. Because I just remembered last week he had checked out of the game, and then what's his name? Oregon guy TJ Bass checked in for a couple snaps. Yeah.
Yeah.
So okay, that's good news about Idoga.
Also, on the Jets injury front, they only listed 3 players on the injury report. Brees Hall, obviously knee, but both their tackles are on the report with Mekhi Becton and Dwayne Brown. Mekhi Becton is knee and Dwayne Brown shoulder. Something to keep an eye on, especially with how our defensive front played last week and how weak the Jets' offensive line already is. Just really something to keep an eye on because Mekhi Becton's not mobile. We're going to be lining up Parsons over him, and that's going to be another Evan Neal situation.
Right. Yeah, that'll definitely be a matchup that we touch upon later in the episode. But I kind of wanted to start as we get into our overall, I guess, just breakdown of the game, starting on the offensive side of the ball. The absence or the presumed absence of Brandon Cooks. This is one where I think and I mean, this might be a very obvious statement, but if Jalen Tolbert doesn't take the steps forward in the offseason like he did last year, this is one I probably am a lot more nervous about. But I'm kind of excited, honestly. Like, obviously, you want to have Cooks out there. You want to have that veteran guy, that veteran presence, super savvy player. But if he's not fully healthy, there's not a reason, to risk it this early. I mean, our next 3 weeks, we have a solid Jets team, Arizona, New England, and then San Francisco. Is that right?
Yeah, I
Or
think
am
I
I
think
forgetting
San
someone?
Francisco is before New
Week
England.
5.
No, New England's week 4.
Ah.
Yeah. Yeah.
San Fran.
Yeah. So better to have him rested now in a game where we hopefully shouldn't need him. I mean, the overall just part that I'm trying to get at is just I'm very excited to see Tolbert. You already alluded to it, Spanky. Jalen Tolbert season. Um, I've been a Tolbert believer. You guys know that. I never gave up on him even throughout last year. So I'm very excited to see just what he can do against this stingy Jets defense, because we all know that this is a tough defense. This is not a walk in the park game like we expect next week to be. Like, this is still, even without number 8 on their side, it's still going to be a tough game. But I just wanted to start, I guess, just on the offensive side of the ball. Um, what are some key matchups that you guys, or I guess not matchups, just some keys to the game for us that we have to execute offensively in order to be able to get the W?
Absolutely. I just want to start by saying I'm excited to see our actual offense play in meaningful, not already up big snaps. If it's one thing to take away from last week and this past off season, it's a different level of competitiveness throughout the Cowboys, whether that's the offense competing against defense in the off season, or even just in actual games, who's the better unit. And I really think the offense is looking at last week, obviously happy, but they got overshadowed by the defense significantly. And I'm hoping that kind of lights a fire under them, where they know that the Jets have great defense. It's been talked about all week how good of a unit that defense is. And, yes, they are, but Josh Allen did play one of his worst games I've ever seen him play. He turned the ball over countless times, 3 or 4. And, how good is that defense really if Josh Allen doesn't make those bonehead year 1 Josh Allen decisions where he just hucks the ball and prays? So I'm really excited to see what our offense looks like with that fire lit under them. I definitely think a key matchup is the trenches. The game, I believe this game is won in the trenches. That being said, Tyler Smith is already out, probably. So it's going to be interesting to see our backup left guard take on potentially Quinnen Williams, knowing that that's a definite mismatch in favor of the Jets. But it's also going to be interesting to see how our offensive line moves their defensive line and gets up to the second level against their linebackers for the run game to open up holes for Pollard. CJ Mosley is a dog. He's a very good player. Their linebackers run, hit, and talk shit. So it's going to be definitely an interesting game and one that will be won in the trenches. But I really want to see, and I said this on last podcast, I want to see our tight ends really open up the middle of the field for us. They didn't have a great week and are arguably the only losers of last week, those losers being Jake Ferguson and Hendershot. So I'm interested to see if they take a next step, have short-term memory, put last week behind them, and prove it with their actions, because with Cooks being out, we need someone to step up, whether that's Gallup finally healthy, whether that is more utilization of Kavonte Turpin. I don't know, but we need someone to step up. And I'm hopeful that our tight end room puts a bad last week behind them and drops and steps up and helps this offense.
Yeah, definitely. I'm just going to talk about their D tackles. We talk about our D line depth all the time. It's insane. Theirs is close to even better, if not better. It's Quentin Jefferson, Quinnen Williams, Al Woods, and Solomon Thomas. Those are just their D tackles.
Jefferson's still in the league. Wow.
Yeah. So their D tackles, they're good, and they get after those guards, and be honest, will have to probably help the left guard with probably Quinn Williams. So I'm assuming that's what's going to happen. So the trenches are going to be the biggest key scenario in this game. But I'm also so excited to watch CD and Sauce Gardner, obviously. But then obviously we have on the opposite side of the ball, you got DJ Reed, who's also a really good corner, going up against Tolbert or whoever else is out there, line up against them. And Michael, obviously Gallup. But so I'm interested to see how their corners play and CD plays against Sauce Gardner. I'm excited to see that a lot, very, very much so.
Yeah, no, I'm on the same page with you, Stu. I think just to kind of take what both of y'all are saying and to try to just kind of blend it together here. The trenches is going to be the important part. The Jets have a mean pass rush, and they've got a damn good secondary. I mean, they are good at all three levels. There's not a weakness. And they've got a lot of young, hungry players, especially on that D line. I mean, Quinn Williams is one of the best D tackles in the league. You've got it was their first round pick last year, Jermaine Johnson. Is that Jermaine Johnson. I forget who they have on the other end.
Carl Lawson is back.
Carl Lawson,
and John Franklin Myers.
Yes.
You also have
Myers.
Will McDonald, the rookie from Iowa State.
Rookie, yep. Yeah. So I mean, they've got a hungry defensive line. Saw them during Hard Knocks. I mean, that's a good group, and their D line kind of reminds me of our D line. Like they have their veteran guys and they've got their young guys, and they're just going to rotate guys like throughout the game the same way that we do. So those guys are still going to be fresh late in the game, kind of like how our D line is. So it's definitely going to be the trenches. Obviously, very, very important. I'm not going to beat a dead horse. You already did a great job of covering that. Just to elaborate more on what you said, Stu, I am ecstatic to watch CD go up against Sauce. I'm really curious. I feel like Sauce is probably going to try to shadow CD most of the game.
So I was thinking too. Yeah.
I don't really see why he wouldn't. Who else do they have in that cornerback? I mean, they got DJ Reed. And they've got another corner who's Bryce Hall. Is that his name?
Yeah, he's a backup of Sauce.
Yeah, not the TikTok guy. But yeah, like they've got a good secondary. They've got good safeties. Obviously, Jordan Whitehead had 3 picks for DeMar last week. That was a really touching tribute. So I mean, like it'll be really interesting just to see how our receiving core goes up against that secondary. CD and Sauce, Gallup and Reed probably, or just Reed playing the slot. I'm not 100% positive on that. And then those safeties, I feel like Jordan Whitehead, I mean, he's been a really solid player for a while. He was on Tampa before the Jets, I'm pretty sure. He's been a solid player. He'll probably match up a lot against Ferg and against Henny. So I'm excited to see that. But just, I guess, if you guys had to pick one specific player that you're going to have your eyes on for this game, your killer, if you will, who would that be? Spanky, we'll start with you.
I'm going to go based on the Sauce CD matchup. That's going to be a 50-50 all game. I'm going to go Michael Gallup. We've heard all offseason that he's the healthiest he's been, that he feels amazing. So I'm just going to go Michael Gallup because if we need someone to win this game for us, chances are that CD Sauce matchup is going to be that's going to be a push-pull matchup on who wins that rep, who doesn't. So I really want to see Michael Gallup step up, especially in the absence of Brandon Cooks, and show us what before ACL injury Gallup was.
Yes, Nick, you talked about it a little bit earlier about how you're ready to see this offense get going and not be a blowout. I'm ready, excited to see Dak. That's my killer of the week. Dak is, obviously he's quarterback, leader of the team, but there's some times last week, I know it was rainy, he had a great ball to Hendershot, but he also, Hendershot, and then he also missed a wide open CD for a touchdown, overthrew him. So I think this game, we'll talk about it a little later, score predictions, everything. It's like we were talking about earlier before we started the podcast. It's a trap game, in my opinion. I think it all comes down to not turning the ball over. Obviously, you saw what the Jets did last week. From Josh Allen over 4 times, you go to overtime, you win the game. So if Dak can limit turnovers, we win this ball game. And I think if he has 0, it'd be win by 10 plus. If he has 1 7-point game, 2 more, it's 3-point game loss. We can't beat he cannot beat ourselves this week is what I'm trying to say.
I agree with that 100%. I'm gonna do so I'm doing this because I feel bad because they're on the horn. We had him as our big loser of last week. I'm gonna go with Jake Ferguson as the killer to watch this week. I think he's due for a bounce back game. The target share is there. I mean, he led our team in targets last game, and I think especially being at home, it's gonna be probably be America's game of the week if I had to guess. I haven't checked the full slate, but I know it's in that afternoon slot, so I'm assuming it'll be on Fox. It'll be America's game of the week. But yeah, I'm really excited to see Jake Ferguson, just because a lot of the matches that he's going to have, it's like I already alluded to, it's probably going to be against like Whitehead, going to be against C.J. Mosley, guys like that. So I believe in Jay Sapford, the Riz God. He's got the Cavender luck on his side, and I think he's due for a big bounce back game. I think Jake Ferguson gets a touchdown this week.
I like that a lot.
So now let's shift over to the other side of the ball. We're going to talk about our defense, but first, talked about it during the intro. This is a way different game than we imagined, especially with how our defense looked last week. I mean, we were salivating after the game Sunday thinking about what our defense was going to do to Aaron Rodgers. We were like, this is when we finally get him. We're going to show him, finally just get some payback for all the bad times. And obviously tragedy strikes. Rodgers injured. But this is still, kind of like Stu said, it has the potential to be a trap game. This is a game that I know before Rodgers got hurt, before that game was played, it was a 3.5-point spread, and now it's 7.5. Is that what the line's at now?
Mm-hmm.
So
over
9.5.
Is it
9.
it's a 9.5.
Wow.
I don't
Okay.
like that. I don't like that at all.
Yeah, that's a lot, especially in the NFL. But yeah, I think, and I mean, I obviously want to hear y'all's thoughts, but this is a game that, I'm obviously very confident in this team and in this defense, especially after seeing what we did last week. But this is still not an offense to be taken lightly. We saw what they were able to do on the ground. Breece Hall looked incredible last week, especially coming off that ACL tear. He looks great. I mean, he's always had that second gear, and he looked like he was right back in peak shape. Obviously Dalvin's a savvy vet. He's going to do his thing. I said savvy vet. I meant savvy vet. My apologies. But yeah, savvy vet Dalvin. He's going to do his thing. But yeah, let's just. I'm going to kick it over to you guys. I want to hear y'all's thoughts.
Yeah. No knock on the Bills defense whatsoever. They're a great unit, but they're not us. They're not the hot boys that we have. They were able to generate pressure at an exponential rate against the Jets offensive line, who honestly, on paper, they could be worse than this Giants offensive line. I mean, Mekhi Becton and Dwayne Brown, I said it before, they're on the injury report for respective reasons, but from left tackle to right tackle, they don't really have that amazing caliber player. And knowing Dan Quinn, what we're going to do, especially after watching what you said, Breece Hall run all over the Bills defenses, I'm expected to see a lot of one high safety looks with Curse, whether it's Curse, Donovan Wilson, John Wayne Thomas, or even Marquise Bell in the box. I think we're going to stack the box and dare Zach Wilson to beat us. Right? Breece Hall and Dalvin Cook will not be the reason why we win or lose this game, according to Dan Quinn. I believe we're going to stack the box, play man on the outside. I believe probably an even more fun matchup is Trayvon Diggs on Garrett Wilson or Stephon Gilmore on Garrett Wilson. That's going to be something to really watch. Let's see if Trayvon can clamp. Let's see if he can walk the walk. We know he can talk the talk. But I'm expecting to see a lot of single high safety, stack the box. We're going to send pressure, but we're also going to bluff a lot of pressure looks to mess with Zach Wilson. We're going to make him make decisions, and we're going to make him try to beat us. That being said, I'd be lying to you if I said my key area to watch wasn't, again, the trenches. If we generate pressure on Zach Wilson, if Hankins and Mozzie step up and can generate enough chaos in the middle in the A and B gaps to stop that 80-yard run from Breece Hall, if we negate that and stop the run and really dominate the trenches like we should, on paper we should, this game could get out of hand quick. Zach Wilson, he showed it last week. He threw that bonehead interception. Garrett Wilson had to make a hell of a play on Tre'Davious White to get a touchdown. He had to play defense and offense on the same play. Zach Wilson kind of feels like the Colt McCoy Thanksgiving game when he was on the Redskins, where we're playing a backup quarterback and he's just going to have a legacy game. It's going to be interesting to see. Cowboy teams of the past, Zach Wilson will probably throw for upwards of 250 yards and 3 touchdowns. That's kind of what we're used to. We saw Colt McCoy do it countless times to us. But, I think our defense is hungry for this. Obviously, it's a little gut punch to not play one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time in Aaron Rodgers. But we have our sights set on big things. And even watching sounds of the sideline, we know that our defense is hungry. And it's even in the fourth quarter, and they're like, let's try to set this record. So they don't care about who they line up against. They just want results. And so I really think that if we generate pressure and if Dan Quinn does Dan Quinn things and dares Zach Wilson to pass the ball on us, I think it's going to be a really great result. But something I'm very interested to watch is I think DeMarcus Lawrence is my hot boy this week. Player to watch for defense. DeMarcus Lawrence is almost the overshadowed guy of our defense now. He's the vet of the room. Casuals will say he's not as good. Diehards will bang the drums and say he's an amazing player. But he's definitely our best defensive end in terms of run stopping ability, the way he gets off blocks. And regardless, if he's lined up on Dwayne Brown and we put Micah on Mekhi Becton, I could really expect D-Law to get 2 sacks this game. So that's a player to watch for me, other than just our entire defensive line unit.
I like it. Yeah, the run game, I think we're to the exact same thing you just said. Stack the box, single high, go man, and that's going to be super exciting. I can't wait to see that. Little Trayvon, Garrett Wilson action. I think Trayvon and Gilmore, if they don't, I don't think Trayvon will shadow Garrett. I think if Garrett goes to the other side, it'll be Gilmore. So I'm excited for that. I think that type of wide receiver is right up Trayvon's alley. A little bit taller, a little bit skinnier, has about the same speed as Trayvon. Trayvon's might be a tiny bit faster. He has that good footwork. I would say he has that Amari Cooper type footwork, even though he's younger. He has the potential to have that footwork. And I think it's right up Trayvon's alley to where he could stop that and show the world that he is a top 3 corner in this league. What I'm interested to see in this game is they run a lot of 2 tight end sets and they don't have great tight ends. Azuma and Conklin. Last game, Conklin looked good. Zach Wilson's going to have to feed them the ball if they can't run. And it's a whole thing again with the whole Darren Waller situation. These guys are not Darren Waller. They're a lot slower, but they can run block. And I'm interested to see how Damone Clark and Curse and whoever guards them, how they go up against those taller, wider tight ends instead of just like the Waller, taller, skinnier, who just runs for passes. So I'm interested to see how those 2 tight ends go up against our defense, and how they run those 5-yard outs if we can stop them, which I think we can. But it's more of like an interesting, smaller aspect in that game that I like to see. In the trenches, obviously, our D tackles are going to step up a little bit. I think Breece Hall and Dalvin both like to right up the middle. I like to do that a lot in that stupid Nathaniel Hackett offense, which I'm not a fan of. So I think they'll run up the middle a lot. And then they also, what I don't like, and Aaron Rodgers talked about it, how he doesn't like how they chop block on those 3-step drops. If we can get around those chop blocks, which the Bills did, it seemed like with ease, I think that we will be all over Zach Wilson, and I don't think he will have time to even do a 3-step drop without being on top of him. So I want to see, and also then hopefully Donovan Wilson gets back. I think he will play this week. That's my player to watch if he plays, because I just remember watching him last year and he had just looked so good. But he missed all of training camp, which I don't like at all, because he got hurt first, second day of training camp. So him coming back, I'm still super pumped to see him. And then how we handle the whole Thomas and Bell situation with Donovan Wilson back is what I'm super excited to see also. But my player to watch on defense is Dono in his first game back.
Yeah. So you guys actually took both of my 2 picks for the Hot Boy of the Week. So thanks for that. But I will gladly go to my 3rd pick here, which I went with Stephon Gilmore last week. I'm going to go to the other side. I'm going to go to Trayvon Diggs. I'm really excited to see him this week. He was pretty good last week. I mean, granted, everyone was last week. I mean, you probably could have ran, friggin' high school Spanky out there, and he probably would have put in some work. But I'm really excited to see that. We already kind of talked about it, but that Diggs and Garrett Wilson matchup. I'm a big Garrett Wilson guy. I think he's a stud. You actually kind of hit the nail on the head, talking about him as kind of like a younger Amari Cooper. Phenomenal footwork. I think in a straight race, I think Diggs has him by a step. But Garrett Wilson, I mean, it's not even just about like that because he does have really good speed. He's great body control wise. I mean, that touchdown he had on Monday Night Football was incredible. Just a total bailout of an awful Zach Wilson pass. I mean, that pass was horrible. But the one way that I could see that matchup not being as big of a factor as we think is that last year they never, there was some games where they clicked, but there was a lot of games last year where you could tell Garrett Wilson was frustrated. Like he was absolutely in hell with Zach Wilson. Granted, Garrett Wilson in the offseason has, talked about Zach's growth as a leader and, just as a player overall and his confidence. I'll believe it when I see it. If Zach Wilson comes out and, like Spanky said, has that legacy game, I'm back in. I'm back in on Zach Wilson, but I'll believe it when I see it.
I don't. That's just a wide receiver sticking up for his quarterback, probably. But.
Exactly. I mean, yeah. Like, what do you want him to say? Like, oh no, I don't believe in Zach. Like, no, like he's not going to say that. He's a smart guy. He's got a good head on his shoulders. He's a very good player, but when push comes to shove, I'm taking 7 over him all day in that matchup. And God forbid he goes to the other side and has Stephon Gilmore covering him. I mean, that same thing as Gilly did last week. I mean, but yeah, again, just to circle back, Trayvon Diggs, due for a big week. I said on the offensive side of the ball that Jake Ferguson gets touched on this week. I'm gonna go bold and say Trayvon Diggs gets a pick this week.
I love that. I have a question for you guys. I know I said we're gonna stack the box a lot. We said it on the podcast before. Our first round pick, Monty Smith, isn't even a starter. Last week, on the only Giants progressive first drive, our defensive tackles were Neville Gallimore or Osa and Chauncey Golston. Do we see potentially a Mozzie Smith, Jonathan Hankins defensive tackle pairing to fully negate the run, to absorb double teams?
I think.
Do we see more of Mozzie Smith this week?
I think you see it if we're getting beat up front. I don't think there's a play. I don't think they're out there being like right off the gate, we're gonna do the Hankins Smith, go up there and do the double teams. I think it was like what happened last week where they realized in the first drive, oh no, they're running the ball very well, but they had Daniel Jones also. Saquon, whatever. I don't think he's that good, but whatever. I think it all happens about if they can run the ball against us, then we'll see it. I don't think the coaches are like, all right, this is what we're gonna do from the get go. That makes sense.
Yeah, I agree. I'm just interested to see because Hankins was kind of an unsung hero last week, and I'm not a guy that affords all 22 yet. We need the audience to up their numbers a little bit so the boys can get some all 22 film in their possession. But
Please sponsor us.
I see a lot of clips on Twitter, and Hankins really played well. And he's an unsung hero, a one tech. He does all the dirty work, but doesn't really get those flash plays. Like he'll get a TFL once in a while, but he's the guy that really just clogs up the middle and makes runners bounce outside where our defense uses their most significant strength and their speed. And I'm just curious because if they do start running the ball well, if we put Mozzie and Hankins on the field, man, that's 600 pounds clogging the middle, dude. That's 600, probably like 650, maybe even 7, depending on what leg you need to measure on Mozzie. But those are big boys, and if we have them, you're gonna have to double team one. You saw Mozzie had a clip where he pushed their right guard on the Giants almost into Daniel Jones last week, and so. Not an unsung hero, not my hot boy to look out for, but I'm definitely curious to see our defensive line, more specifically our defensive tackle rotations this week, because when we saw Osa and another 3 tech like Chauncey, like Galmore's kind of a tweener, but like if we see 2 3 techs on the field, chances are the Jets are going to realize that Zach Wilson's going to check at the line of scrimmage and it's going to be a run. So I'm very curious to see how we rotate. And let's see if we can get some. Maybe Mozzie comes up with a big play, a flash play, shows his athleticism. Because the Jets' interior offensive line is significantly worse than their tackles. I mean, Mekhi Becton was a first rounder. Dwayne Brown was an all pro back in 2009, 2010. So, I mean, there's room to work and there's room for these guys to really perform. And judging kind of how our linebackers played last week, if we don't roll a safety down and play that cover 1 look with that single eye safety, I would be a little concerned. But I think this is definitely a game where Dan Quinn is in his bag. And I want to highlight this and say, I understand the Jets are not the 49ers, but the Jets are going to attack us pretty similarly to the 49ers, where their weakest player on offense is their quarterback right now. And they have talent everywhere else. And so I can definitely see Dan Quinn attacking the Jets pretty similarly to how he will attack the 49ers, barring obviously Trent Williams and their good offensive line. But we got to play smash mouth on defense, and we really need to shut up the run and make their quarterback try to beat us. And I believe that's going to be the same scenario in most cases this season. The quarterbacks that we play aren't amazing. I think the next best quarterback on the list, obviously I'm biased, is Herbert, but then it's like Hurts. And then who? I mean, we play Daniel Jones, Sam Howell 3 times.
Purdy.
Oh wait, we don't play the Jags.
No, we don't play. Yeah, we don't play the AFC.
Tua.
Yeah, I mean, I'm still putting Herbert, Gap, Hurts,
Josh Allen.
Biased.
Herbert, Josh Allen, Gap, Hurts.
So biased.
I mean, I'll wait and see if Jalen Hurts can beat a Dak Prescott, which he's yet to do. You know, he needs to win my respect. And so far, he could only beat a Cooper Rush-led Cowboys team off Cooper Rush having his come to Jesus moment. So, I mean, he needs to win it. Same way Zach Wilson needs to win some respect, because I think our defensive line is licking their chops right now. I think our whole defense is. But, I think we should shift over to a new segment in the pod called Cover Zero. And this is going to be the controversial section of the pod, ladies and gentlemen. This will be rival fans and rival Twitter accounts are definitely going to hate this section every week because this is where we sound off. And, last week our defense played phenomenally, and people are like, oh, it's the Cowboys, Niners, Ravens. Like, those are the top defenses. I'm going to go out and say after this week, there's going to be absolutely a unanimous decision that the Dallas Cowboys have the best defense in football. And I'm going to say that because I think top to bottom, left and right, I think we're gonna make Zach Wilson pay. And Robert Saleh is gonna get a close up on his face, and he's gonna have that 1,000-yard stare where he's not gonna know what hit him. Because simply put, our defense, top to bottom, even in the depth positions, like we have Jordan Lewis as a wide cornerback 4. I think this week our defense cements itself as the best defense in football, and they start circling, maybe for worse, but they start circling that Niners week coming up in week 5. I really see us going 4-0. Obviously, you have to get through this week. Obviously, you have a Bill Belichick-led Patriots team at home. But my hot take for this week is we're going to be 4-0 going into San Fran.
I like it. Mine is, like, we're talking about how this is going to be a closer game than people think, in my opinion. I think that there will be – it's not a crazy – I mean, it's a crazy take, but it has to do with both teams. There will be 5+ turnovers in this game between both teams. I think it's not raining, but it's going to be sloppy with Zach Wilson. I think it'll be 4 turnovers for the Jets, 1 for the Cowboys.
It's a pick or a fumble.
I think it'll be – I'm going to go 2 picks for Zach Wilson, a fumble for Dalvin, and a fumble for Brees. Each running back gets a fumble. And then Zach does a pick. And but my whole thing is that the game will still be closer than people think it will be.
Yeah, the 9.5 spread scares the shit out of me. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah,
Jets have a solid team, and Cowboys in the past have played down to their competition for sure. But if we go out there and cover, I am sitting high in my chair and banging the table saying this is a brand new Cowboys team and a brand new culture. You saw what Mike McCarthy put up on the wall of the locker room, a brand new slogan. I don't know it off the top of my head, but he put up a brand new slogan on top of the Cowboys wall, and it's clear that.
Oh yeah, the Latin thing. Yeah. What is the word? Oh, it's sick. I looked it up. It's actually awesome. It's like it translates to like seize the moment or like seize everything or something like that. It's awesome.
And, Mike McCarthy, this is also a game where him and Schottenheimer need to really show themselves. I mean, they didn't have an opportunity to really see anything or do anything of significance because they didn't need to. So
yeah,
it's definitely a scary, scary place because teams of the past of the Cowboys simply put play down. So if we don't play down and we go out and beat the hell out of them like we're supposed to and cover, going into Arizona, I would argue rest some players. I know it's only week 3, but like Brandon Cook's knee injury, I wouldn't play him. Tyler Smith, I wouldn't play him. Like, are you kidding me? If this team goes 2-0 against a New York Giants team in a monsoon and a New York Jets team, barring no Aaron Rodgers, but they're still a great unit, you rest against Arizona. Or I guess rest isn't a good term. You don't rush injuries back.
Yeah, I like it. I've been trying to think of my hot take. I'm torn between a couple. I'm gonna say this isn't even that hot. I think it's very realistic. I think, gosh, I think I've already said I think Trayvon gets a pick. It's not that much of a hot take. That's just my honest prediction. I'm gonna go with my hot take. Our defense comes up with 5 sacks or more this week.
I love it.
We've already talked about the trenches, and I guess to further pigeonhole my prediction, I'm gonna say Micah gets 2. I think Micah gets 2 of the 5. I wouldn't be surprised if Osa got 1 or 2. I mean, he looked awesome last week. I just think our D line's gonna feast. And I love that tape that you had, Spanky, that this is this is kind of like a statement game for our defense where it's like they just kind of go out there and say we're the best defense in the NFL. Like this is where we really divide that gap and really show who we are and what we're about. So I love that take. But yeah, I'm gonna say our defensive line. Well, no, not our defensive line. Just our defense period gets 5 or more sacks this week. And I think this is just kind of going for the rest of the season, but I don't know what the all-time team sack record is, but our defense is going to push for it. That's like
I love
that's
that.
like that's a take down the line.
Up.
Yeah, I'm curious, but our defense is going to push for it. I think
especially with 17 games this year. I mean, it's definitely possible. Chicago Bears have the most sacks by any team in a season with 72 in 1984.
Oh, we're breaking that. We're breaking that.
72.
Well, actually, maybe, dude. 72 is a lot. Like when you think about it, like my mind is just skewed because we had 7 last week. So I'm like, oh, like what?
It's over 4
like,
games.
Yeah, it's 4.2 a game.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
We're already on pace for it.
You know what?
We're ahead of pace.
Screw it.
Let's see.
I'll stand by that.
We're gonna get
2023 Dallas Cowboys
sacks
defense.
this year.
2023 Dallas Cowboys defense breaks the all-time team sack record. That's my hot take for the week and for the season. So now I guess we'll roll into our final thing, which is let's just go around the horn. Let's do our score prediction for the week. Last week we were a little bit off.
Yeah. Who saw that coming?
Just a little bit. Just a little bit.
If you saw a 40-point cover there, come on. You're not.
Yeah. We were so to go off our initial season predictions, we were all correct in a win last week, so we're all 1-0 there. Me and Stu had us losing this game. I would like to revise my pick.
Stu, no. You got to stick to it.
Too late. We're winning this game. And Stu, I'll give you the chance to make an edit to yours as well. But I'm going to say that we win this game. And I'm going to say it's lower. Do you know what can you check the over under real quick? Can someone look that up?
Yeah, I'm on it.
Because I want to say that the under is probably.
I think it's 39.5, 38.5 points. Or 9.9. The spread is now 9.
Okay.
So I figure 20. We probably score in the 20s.
Yeah.
Safe assumption.
I like that.
Safe assumption.
I'm gonna say Cowboys win.
Do they cover?
They do not cover. I'm gonna say 27-20. No. Sorry. 24 to 16. Jets get 1 touchdown, 3 field goals.
Got you.
You gotta think about that for a second.
I'm pretty on par with you, Burke, and I've been going back and forth. I see a 27-13 Cowboys victory with us covering and then some.
I'm trying to decide if I'm going to let the Jets score a touchdown or not this week for him. I'm trying to decide. I'm leaning.
I'm going to chalk it up as a garbage time touchdown. Unless Breece Hall breaks.
They're gonna backdoor cover with about 30 seconds left. It's gonna break, and they're gonna have to onside it. Don't get it. We win the game. I have another hot take this week. Also, Aubrey makes 4 field goals. Hit himself with 4 field goals this week. We win 19-13.
Oh, what a scrappy game!
What a scrappy game.
Disgusting game.
So yeah,
he wants a lot of turnovers.
Four field goals. So 4 field goals and 1 touchdown. But Dak is your killer of the week on offense.
That doesn't make sense, but actually, can I change my killer to be Aubrey?
Brandon Aubrey.
Sure. Brandon Aubrey, killer of the week.
I love it. I mean,
I'm doing it.
Hey,
okay.
I'm doing it.
Brandon Aubrey, if you're listening to this, join the pod. Love to have you on.
We would love to have you on.
I'm a big Aubrey fan. Huge.
Yeah. Okay, so Stu, let's just do a recap. So we had our killers on offense. Spanky had Gallup. Stu, with the late change, is going to go. He's all in on Brandon Aubrey this week. And I had Jake Ferguson. And then our hot boys of the week on defense, Spanky had DeMarcus Lawrence, Stu had Donovan Wilson, and I had Trayvon Diggs. And then our score predictions: 24-16, me, 27-13, Spank, and 19-13, Stu. So,
Would that be a scoregami?
I don't think so.
I don't know.
I
That's
think
a
there's
good
only like
question.
there's like 5 ones left that could be like realistic.
We need a
Because there was one
nerd.
last week.
We need
Yeah,
a
we do.
Jake Marsh who can just
Yeah, I was gonna
look
say
shit
Jake
up
Marsh.
for us. We need a nerd.
Real. Yeah.
We're now
Hey,
taking
if you're a
we're now
Cowboys
taking
fan
nerd
and a nerd,
applications.
yeah.
Yeah.
If you have
We're
thick
taking nerd
skin, we can
apps.
shit on you. Come on.
Yeah. Yeah. And I did also want to say one of the questions that we had last week that we were kind of talking about just throughout our discussion, we were talking about Mozzie not being a starter, like the last Cowboys first round pick that wasn't a starter. I went back and I said, just off the top of my head, I thought it was Felix Jones back in 2008. There's one that we're forgetting, and for good reason, who wasn't a starter off rip. Taco
I know
Charlton.
Taco Charlton.
Yep.
Fuck. I know
Yep.
you're.
Yeah. Because
God, I never want to hear that
Disgusting.
fucking name.
I know, but like, I mean, you look back at, I mean, this is just credit to Will McClay and our scouting team. I mean, are up there with the best in the biz. I mean, Tyler Smith, Micah, CD, LVE, Taco Charlton, Zeke, Byron Jones, Zach Martin, Frederick, big whiff on Claiborne, Tyron Smith, Dez, Mike Jenkins, Felix Jones, Anthony Spencer, whiff of Bobby Carpenter, Marcus Spears, DeMarcus Ware. You want to keep going back, Terrence Newman, Roy Williams. I mean, my God, this is
Was the Taco Charlton year? Was that the TJ Watt year?
yep, yep. Could have had TJ Watt. Could have had TJ Watt. Yeah, TJ
Can you
Watt went
imagine?
what? I think
30?
we got Charlton at 28. I think Watt went like
Yes, 30,
30 or
31.
31. Yeah,
Yeah.
something like that. We'll never know, unfortunately.
Sorry,
Taco
Cowboys fans, to
Charlton.
bring that up.
Yeah. Sorry for reopening a bad wound there. That just reopened a lot of trauma for us as well. Believe me. God, I don't even want to talk about it. I mean, that's just a bad note to end on.
Mm-hmm.
Damn. Well, let's just to make it more positive. Just real quick, Spanky, you're muted, by the way. But but yeah, positive note to end on. We all have Cowboys winning. We're expecting a good game, scrappy game. Me and Stu think that the Jets cover. Spank does not. But yeah, should be a good game. For any inquiries or bookings or anything like that, feel free to send over an email to podcastdbc@gmail.com. And please follow us on social media. Our Instagram is at Dallas BC Podcast, and our Twitter is at Dallas BC Pod. We're
I'll
working
put it in
on
the description on YouTube.
yeah. Stu will plug that in the description as well. And then we're working on getting a TikTok up. So if you see some of our Cover Zero takes on TikTok, just like Spanky said, it's controversial. So we're expecting some backlash, but I mean that's why we do it. I mean it's for the love of the game. So yeah, if you see us getting bashed, feel free to step in and back us up. You know, we love all interaction. We're just here to talk ball at the end of the day. So yeah, again, follow us Instagram Dallas BC Podcast, Twitter at Dallas BC Pod. We'll send out something, put a message up with our TikTok. And yeah, thank you guys so much for joining us today. And we will see you guys on Sunday or Monday. Thank you guys.